Hey, it's Irina Pozan, and welcome back to the Career Cravings Podcast. This podcast has a simple mission. It's to help ambitious professionals like you build the career and life that you've been craving. Over the past 15 years, I've worked as an HR leader, designed hiring systems, led recruitment teams, and I've sat on the other side of the hiring table. I've seen what works in today's job market, what doesn't, and what separates those good candidates from the ones that actually land their dream roles. Now I'm bringing everything I've learned straight to you. Each episode is packed with actionable insights and tools to help you land your dream role sooner. Now let's dive in. Welcome back to today's episode of the Career Cravings Podcast. And if you have ever wondered, I am new to this country. I don't have North American experience, or I feel like I'm starting from scratch. This episode is for you because today I'm going to show you exactly what it takes to get hired, even when you feel underqualified on paper, or that you feel like you should be starting from scratch just because you've never worked in the country that you are applying to today. So instead of being told you need to start from the bottom, I have a better idea. And today I am going to walk you through step by step what it will take to land your first role in a brand new country without taking a step back. So I want to be super clear. You do not need to take a step back. You don't need to wait years to be qualified, and you don't need local experience to get hired. And I have helped so many clients land roles that were more senior than they were ever expecting in a new country. And by this episode, you're going to know exactly how this is possible for you too, because if they did it, this is proof you can as well. Okay, I want to share a little story about why this is so important to me and so close to my heart. So when I was a little girl, me and my parents moved to Canada, and I remember them having such a hard time being adults trying to land their first Canadian roles. And it was really, really challenging. They didn't know where to start. And I actually remember we lived in this area in Toronto in North York that was like at the top of the hill. And I remember them walking like it's just something that's ingrained in my memory to this employment office, like down the hill, and trying to look for work in a brand new country because it was brand new systems, a brand new language. Everything felt foreign and everything felt uncertain. And I remember them doing everything they could. Like they took English speaking classes, they had their resumes redone. And I remember that employment office experience. And of course, in their case, they did take a huge step back and they did start over. And it was really challenging for a very, very long time. But now I realize it does not have to be this way. Okay. And really full circle moment. So later when I became an adult and I started working in HR and I started knowing, how hiring works, one of the very first volunteer experiences I've ever done, it's still on my LinkedIn today, is go back to that same employment office and do free resume transformation sessions for people live that were new immigrants to Canada and helping them find a role. And of course, with the backstory of picturing my parents doing the same thing. So fast forward years later, I joined a board in the same area that was helping also new immigrants or anyone underprivileged with finding roles as well for this very same reason. For many years now, I've worked with newcomers, immigrants, job seekers who just don't know what to do and feel invisible in today's market. And also it breaks my heart to know that they feel like they need to start from scratch. So if that is you today and that's the reason you're listening, I want you to know that is absolutely not the case. And I want to show you what is possible for you. Okay. So you don't need to have the perfect North American experience to get hired, and you don't need to take a huge step back. And today I'm saying that to you because I wish someone said it to my parents like 30 years ago. So from that heavy story, let's move on to some possibilities. And I want to play something for you just to really show you what's possible for someone who's never, ever worked in North America before. And what you're going to hear in a moment is a video session that I had with my client where we were celebrating her landing her dream role. And the interesting thing is she went invisible in the job market for 6 months straight. But as soon as I met her, I told her, I'm like, so many companies would be so lucky to have you. And she's incredible. We stay in touch to this day. She's now moved on to another more exciting, more senior role. But it is incredible what changes with the right strategy. And I want to show you what's possible because she was also in your shoes not long ago, being brand new to the country and feeling like she had to start over from scratch because she wasn't getting her resume noticed for 6 months straight. So here's what happened.
I had 0 calls, absolutely 0 calls for 6 months. My biggest challenge was I wasn't getting a single call back. And I joined HR Star at the end of October. And I have had 2 offers so far. Prior to that, I had at least 4 phone screens. I got to the final stage.
So let's pause there. So what you heard Ekta say is that after 6 months of searching without being noticed at all, in 1 month, she landed 2 offers and she had her choice in where she wanted to work. And this happens all the time when you align your strategy with the country in which you're searching in. And I'm going to break down how to do this as well. This is someone who didn't change her experience. She didn't wait to be more qualified. She didn't wait to go back to school and get more and more education. She showed up as already qualified, and that was the difference that was made. So let's get super, super clear on this. Again, in Ekta's case, with that huge transformation, nothing else changed in that month except the way she showed up, her resume, and the way her own belief in what is possible for her. Okay. And this really shows you do not need a perfect background. You need a clear message that shows your audience that you have previous work experience from another country, and you won't focus on the other country part. You're going to focus on the transferable skills instead. Okay, transferable skills. You first need to believe in your own value and believe that it's possible for you to also land a role that actually excites you, where you're not starting from scratch. And when you do this, everything changes. The market starts to respond. You start to get more interviews. And there is an approach to this. So when you're new to the country, it's hard to position yourself in a brand new market, right? And I see people get stuck and really search for years when this absolutely never, ever, ever has to be the case. I want to give you one other example that I am going to pull up right now just to really bring this point home. Okay, so what you're about to hear is from another client, Nikita. She's incredible. She also was searching for 6 months without landing any offers. She had a couple of interviews. They didn't really go anywhere. And when she came to me, she's like, I need to look for entry-level roles. We started out, of course, I got to know her profile. I saw what she's done in her home country. And I said, no, you don't. You need to go for those mid-level roles because you are at this point overqualified for the entry-level roles. She wasn't sure because, of course, she wasn't getting success even with the entry-level roles. So we changed her strategy. We changed her approach. And she landed a more senior role in 3 weeks. So here's what she said.
Last time we met, I had an interview the next day. And so I got a job. I'm actually, this weekend, doing the onboarding. So that's very exciting. It's an HR business partner role. My first job here in Canada. I had no, at the beginning of this journey, when I started job hunting, I wasn't focusing on senior role because I thought that a lack of Canadian experience in the field I would be able to get. But I mean, it's amazing. Your approach, the guidance that I got from you really helped me so much. And yeah, I'm so happy. For 6 months, your job hunting for 6 months. I went to so many interviews that I lost count of them. I had so many rejections, interviews that went, well, I told you about the interview that I thought I was going to get the offer because they checked my reference and then never heard back till
So I'm going to cut it off there, but it's incredible what can happen. So just in 3 weeks, she landed a business partner role, which, if you know, is a six-figure role as her first role in Canada. And she thought she had to start from scratch, and she absolutely did not. So that is what I want you to keep in mind, to know that this is possible for you too, from Ekta's stories, from Nikita's story, and so many others as well. So as we move on, here are the steps that we walked through with Nikita, with Ekta, and what you can use as well. Okay, first, I don't want you to focus on the gap. I don't want you to focus on what you don't have, which is North American experience, right? So maybe you're going for your first role in the US, your first role in Canada after immigrating. You don't focus on the gap. I want you instead to identify your transferable skills. So ask yourself, have you done this role before? Even if it was in another country? Yes. I'm going to go ahead and assume the answer is yes. And if you have, that is what I want you to focus on. So what problems have you solved in previous roles or in another country? Are they similar to what you would be doing here? And in my experience, the biggest difference is cultural and employment laws, right? If you don't focus on what you don't have, which is probably the cultural experience or the employment laws, flip it and really focus on what's transferable. What do you have? What experience do you have? What tools, what results, what tasks overlap and match with the jobs that you actually want now, right? And then I want you to think of proof. So think numbers, outcomes. How can you show that this is really similar? The work you were doing in your home country is super similar to what you'd be doing today, which will give you confidence that you can do it. So often, many people believe that they just won't get the job. And if you have that mindset, you are going to enter your interviews convincing the recruiter that you're not qualified and focusing it on the gap, what you don't have, which is that American experience, Canadian experience. So I want you to make a bullet list of 3 of your transferable wins that really focus on your value and not focused on the fact that they were in another country, and then to describe it. And I want this to guide your whole resume, how you show up in interviews, because once you believe it, like I literally told Nikita, I know you're ready for a more senior role. That changed everything for her. And she's like, okay, I am. And then she entered her next interview that way and got the offer in 3 weeks, end to end, right? So it's having that belief, knowing it's possible. And now you know it's possible because you've literally heard of just 2 stories here today, both which happened in under a month, right? So much can change so quickly with the right strategy. I know I'm like a broken record with this, but I need to show you proof so you know that it's possible for you too. Okay, so that's step 1. Don't focus on the gap, focus on your transferable skills. Okay, second, in your mindset, I want you to reframe lack of local experience. Oh, I don't have this. I don't have that. So instead of saying, I've never worked in Canada before, I've never worked in Miami before, wherever you're searching, try, in my previous roles, I led X, Y, and Z, which translate directly into the type of role that you're now applying for. And now look at your resume. Pull it out and see, does it clearly articulate that you are qualified for the role, no matter which country that you've worked in? So step 3 is all about making your story clear and confident. Without this, you will never get a job offer. The most qualified person doesn't always get the job, but the clearest communicator does. So I've actually had another client named Ankita get hired on the spot. I remember she comes to my next coaching call and she's telling me what happened. And she literally went to an interview and got the job on the spot after also searching for a year previously, because she clearly communicated why she would be able to do the job. And the hiring manager knew that she would from her past experience and looked past the fact that, yes, she has never worked in this country before. So I want you to clearly have a story that aligns. So make sure your pitch is really clear on what you've done that is exactly the same and similar, and focus on that. Do not focus on any of the gaps. And I want it to sound really confident. I also then want you to have really confident interview responses for questions like, have you worked in this country before? So think about what you would say. Why would we hire you? Why should we hire you? Why are you the best person for this role? And then I want you to answer those questions with confidence based on the fact that you have the transferable skills. You've done it before and you could do it again. And this is going to change the entire energy in that room of the interview. Okay, so here's what I want you to do next. I want you to start with your transferable skills. I want you to do that today. So where have you solved similar problems before? Don't focus on which country it was in. What metrics can you highlight? What wins did you have? How can you prove that this also matches the type of role you're looking for and that you'd be able to be successful with experience from another country? Okay, then optimize your resume and interview strategy to tell that story clearly and confidently. Okay, and to help you do this, I have some free resources linked in this show notes of the episode. You can download my brand new resume guide as a really great starting point. And I also have an interview guide that you can download as well, depending on where you're feeling stuck in the process. And if you want to go even deeper, I have a free training. So just DM me on LinkedIn at Irina Pozan or Career Coach Irina on Instagram. DM me the word masterclass and I will send you a free training on all of the steps that you need to take in order to be hired quickly in any market, even if you don't have local North American experience. So here is what I want to leave you with today. If no one told you this today, you are not behind. You are not starting over. You didn't make a mistake by moving, and you are not less qualified. Your story, your experience, and your value are more than enough, and you will find the right place for your experience if you know how to communicate them. So you've done hard things before. You've literally packed up and moved countries, and this is just the next challenge, and you're not doing it alone. So until next week, I want you to hit follow on this podcast so you don't miss an episode. Share it with a friend who needs it. Leave a review. And remember, you are so much closer than you think. And if you need any support, just reach out to me in my DMs. I will see you in the next episode. Hey, before you go, if you've enjoyed listening to today's show, I would love your support. Please take a moment to leave a review anywhere where you listen to podcasts. And here's the exciting part. I'm running a special contest and giving away a one-on-one session with yours truly. All you have to do is leave a review, take a screenshot, and send it to me in my DMs. All of my contact info is in the show notes. I appreciate you so much, and I cannot wait to build the career and life that you've been craving together. See you next week.